There are different names for this dish. Some may call it Butadon or pork belly rice bowl or char siu rice bowl or pork donburi. Whatever you want to call it, our best interest is to make it delicious, right? So for this recipe, I used sous vide pork belly, which brings out incredibly tender texture and great flavor pack. Sous vide pork belly rice bowl. Let's do this. First of all, let's make the sauce base. On a medium-high heat in a saucepan, you add soy sauce, mirin, sake, and sugar. That's it, so simple, right? And give it a light stir action to dissolve the sugar and bring it to a boil. You do not have to reduce it yet. When the sugar is fully dissolved, just remove from the heat. And keep it in a separate container, cool it down. Now let's get ready for the sous vide. Crush couple cloves of garlic. Cut off the scallion white parts only and score these in half. A few ginger slices will be nice. And some thyme. And for this one, I used the pork belly about 1 inch thickness. And to the bag, you want to add about 1/4 cup of the sauce base. If you do not have the chamber type vacuum sealer, then it's really difficult to keep the liquid inside the bag. Just make sure to hit the stop button before it overflows. And this bag goes into sous vide at 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 hours. Make sure your protein is fully submerged in the water. And don't forget to cover the container to minimize the heat loss and evaporation. After 8 hours, pull it out of the sous vide. And then you keep it in the fridge until you start cooking the dish. So in the next morning, I started making soft-boiled eggs. Boiling time is 5.5 minutes. Take the eggs out of the water and immediately give them an ice water bath. Personally prefer a running water method, which is to slide the water in between the membrane and the egg whites. Thinly slice onions. And we're going to cut the white part of the scallion into thin strips. Just score these in half first, and then separate the layers. And run your knife lengthwise. Keep these in cold water and they will curl up. Separate the tube-shaped scallion green part and cut them into rounds without pressuring it too much from the top. Thinly slice the peeled ginger and cut these into thin strips. For shishito pepper, there's not much to do, you just need to separate the caps. Now for the sous vide pork belly, I just want to cut it about 1 centimeter thickness. 1 centimeter thickness with sous vide, this will be very tender. Now, if you don't have the sous vide circulator at home, or if you don't have enough time to make the sous vide, then you can use the thinly sliced pork shoulder with garlic and sesame oil and a little bit of seasoning, salt and pepper. That's it. It still works fine. I mean, it's not just outstanding, you know what I'm saying? So after mixing, just cook the pork shoulder on the pan and brown all the sides. And then you add the teriyaki sauce. Although this is not the coolest version on the face of the earth, just make it look sexy, like this. Now back to the cool version, you're going to sear the sous vide pork belly. All you want to do at this point is to brown the surface and bring up the internal temperature. That's right, feel me? Remove the pork belly and on the same pan, start cooking the onions and then you add the teriyaki sauce. Not really reducing it too much, but you still want the onions to soak up the sweetness of the sauce. Now's the time to reduce the sauce, finally. And when it starts getting sticky, you add the shishito peppers. Now it's time for the pork belly. You remove the shishito pepper and on the same pan, with the reduced sauce, you are going to glaze both sides of the pork belly. And this time you really want the sauce to stick on the surface. Oh, there's still more we can do. We can coat the surface of the soft-boiled eggs. Just be mindful, these are very delicate babies, so just like roll them over on the sauce and just coat all the surface. Now let's barbecue all the ingredients that went through this glazing process. This process is highly recommended, but if you don't have the blowtorch at home, it's totally fine. You can just skip it. Now let's plate everything. On a bed of rice, you put onions and ginger. Shishito peppers on one side. Soft boiled egg takes one corner. And your beautifully caramelized sous vide pork belly. Scallion curls, scallion rounds, and sprinkle some sesame seeds. Is it very different from the other Butadon recipe? Yes. Is it worth the amount of time and the effort? Yes, this is so damn good. See, if you have a sous vide circulator at home, I double, triple dare you to try this. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit the like and subscribe and notification bell, and I'll be back with more exciting sous vide recipes.